Victoria clutched her coffee mug tightly as she stared out the window of her small apartment, watching the first snowflakes of winter drift lazily down from the gray sky. The chill in the air matched the coldness she felt inside. At 30, her life hadn't turned out quite how she'd imagined. A failed engagement 2 years ago had left her wary of relationships. Her job as an accountant paid the bills but left her feeling unfulfilled. Most of her friends were married with kids now. Victoria felt stuck, unsure of how to move forward. With a sigh, she turned away from the window and grabbed her coat. Maybe a walk would help clear her head. She made her way down the 4 flights of stairs and out onto the busy city sidewalk. The brisk air nipped at her cheeks as she walked aimlessly, lost in thought. "Watch out!" a deep voice called out suddenly. Victoria looked up just in time to see a bike messenger barreling towards her. She froze, unable to move. In an instant, strong arms wrapped around her waist and pulled her out of harm's way. The bike whizzed past, the rider shouting an apology over his shoulder. Heart pounding, Victoria looked up at her rescuer. Concerned blue eyes gazed down at her from a handsome face framed by tousled dark hair. "Are you all right?" the man asked, his arms still around her waist. Victoria nodded, suddenly very aware of how close they were standing. Yes, I'm fine, thank you." The man smiled and released her. "I'm glad. That was a close call. I'm Carter, by the way." "Victoria," she replied, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear self-consciously. "Nice to meet you, Victoria. Can I buy you a coffee to help calm your nerves after that near miss?" Victoria hesitated. She didn't normally accept invitations from strangers, but there was something about Carter's warm smile that put her at ease. Sure, that would be nice. Thank you. They walked to a nearby cafe, making small talk along the way. Victoria learned that Carter was new to the city, having just moved there for work. He was a software engineer at a tech startup. Over steaming mugs of coffee, their conversation flowed easily. Victoria found herself laughing more than she had in months. There was an easy charm about Carter that drew her in. For the first time in a long time, she felt a spark of excitement. As they finished their coffee, Carter glanced at his watch. "I hate to cut this short, but I have a meeting to get to. I'd love to see you again, though. Maybe dinner this weekend?" Victoria bit her lip, considering. Her guard was still up after her last relationship, but she felt herself wanting to say yes. "That sounds nice," she found herself saying. They exchanged numbers, and Carter left with a warm smile and a promise to call soon. As Victoria walked home, she felt lighter somehow. Meeting Carter had been unexpected, but it had shaken her out of her funk. For the first time in ages, she felt a glimmer of hope for the future. True to his word, Carter called the next day to set up dinner plans. Victoria spent far too long agonizing over what to wear before settling on a simple black dress. When Carter picked her up, his eyes lit up appreciatively. "You look beautiful," he said sincerely. Dinner was at a cozy Italian restaurant. The candlelight flickered warmly as they talked and laughed over plates of pasta. Victoria found herself opening up about her past relationship and her fears about trying again. Carter listened attentively, offering words of understanding and encouragement. "I know it's scary to put yourself out there again," he said, reaching across the table to take her hand. "But I think you're brave for being willing to try. And for what it's worth, I think you're pretty amazing." Victoria blushed, a warm feeling spreading through her chest. It had been so long since she'd felt this way. Excited, hopeful, alive. As the weeks passed, Victoria and Carter grew closer. He introduced her to his favorite hiking trails just outside the city. She showed him her favorite hidden gems around town. They spent cozy evenings curled up on the couch watching old movies. For the first time in years, Victoria felt herself truly falling for someone. But doubt still nagged at the back of her mind. What if she was moving too fast? What if she got hurt again? One night, as they walked hand in hand through the park, Victoria's fears bubbled to the surface. "Carter, I need to be honest with you," she said, stopping to face him. "I really care about you, but I'm scared. My last relationship ended badly, and I'm terrified of getting hurt again. Maybe we should slow things down." Carter listened patiently, his eyes full of understanding. When she finished, he took both of her hands in his. "Victoria, I understand your fears, and if you need to slow down, I respect that. But I want you to know that I'm not going anywhere. I care about you deeply, and I'm willing to take things at whatever pace you're comfortable with. You're worth waiting for." Tears pricked Victoria's eyes at his heartfelt words. She leaned in and kissed him softly. In that moment, she made a decision to let go of her fears and open her heart fully. As spring bloomed, so did Victoria and Carter's relationship. They took a weekend trip to the coast, walking barefoot in the sand and watching the sunset. Victoria introduced Carter to her friends, who welcomed him warmly. For her birthday, Carter surprised her with tickets to see her favorite band in concert. Victoria felt herself falling more deeply in love each day. Carter's kindness, humor, and steady presence soothed the lingering hurts from her past. For the first time, she could envision a real future with someone. But their relationship wasn't without its challenges. Carter's startup was going through a crucial growth phase, requiring long hours and added stress. Victoria's own job was becoming increasingly demanding. They both struggled to find quality time together amid their busy schedules. One night, after yet another canceled date night, Victoria's frustrations boiled over. "I feel like I hardly see you anymore," she said. "I know your job is important, but am I not a priority too?" Carter ran a hand through his hair wearily. "Of course you're a priority, Victoria. I'm sorry I've been so distracted lately. This project at work is just really crucial right now. I need you to be patient with me." "I've been patient," Victoria replied, her voice rising. "But I need more than just scraps of your time and attention. I thought we were building something real here." "We are," Carter insisted. "I love you, Victoria. You know that." Victoria's breath caught. It was the first time either of them had said those words. But in that moment, it wasn't enough to soothe her hurt feelings. "If you love me, then show me. Make time for me. I can't keep feeling like I'm last on your list of priorities." She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. "I need some space to think. Call me when you're ready to actually be present in this relationship." Victoria spent the next few days in a fog of sadness and uncertainty. Had she overreacted? Was she being unfair to Carter? But a larger part of her knew she deserved someone who would make her a priority. On the third day, there was a knock at her door. She opened it to find Carter standing there, looking contrite. "Can we talk?" he asked softly. Victoria nodded and let him in. They sat on the couch, a tense silence stretching between them. Finally, Carter spoke. "I'm sorry, Victoria. You were right. I haven't been giving our relationship the attention it deserves. I got so caught up in work that I lost sight of what's truly important." He took her hand gently. "The truth is, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love you, and I want to do better. I talked to my boss, and we're restructuring some things so I can have a better work-life balance. I want to make this work if you'll give me another chance." Victoria's eyes welled with tears. "I love you too," she whispered. "And yes, I want to make this work too." They sealed their reconciliation with a tender kiss, both committed to nurturing their relationship moving forward. As summer arrived, Victoria and Carter's bond grew stronger than ever. They took cooking classes together, planted an herb garden on Victoria's balcony, and spent lazy Sundays exploring new neighborhoods hand in hand. Victoria felt a deep sense of contentment she'd never known before. One warm evening, Carter suggested a picnic in the park where they'd had their first real conversation months ago. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, Carter turned to Victoria with a serious expression. "Victoria, these past months with you have been the happiest of my life. You've shown me what true partnership and love really mean." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Victoria's breath caught as he opened it to reveal a delicate diamond ring. "I want to spend the rest of my life loving you, supporting you, and building a future together. Victoria, will you marry me?" Tears of joy spilled down Victoria's cheeks as she nodded emphatically. "Yes! 1,000 times yes!" she exclaimed. Carter slipped the ring onto her finger and pulled her in for a passionate kiss as people nearby burst into applause. As they began planning their wedding, Victoria marveled at how much her life had changed in just a year. She'd gone from feeling stuck and hopeless to being filled with joy and excitement for the future. Carter had helped her heal old wounds and open her heart to love again. They decided on a small, intimate wedding in a picturesque garden just outside the city. On a perfect autumn day, surrounded by their closest friends and family, Victoria and Carter exchanged vows. Victoria's voice shook with emotion as she promised to love and cherish Carter for all their days. As they were pronounced husband and wife, Victoria felt her heart soar with happiness. The reception was a joyous celebration of their love. They danced and laughed late into the night, surrounded by the warmth of their loved ones. As Carter twirled her around the dance floor, Victoria caught glimpses of their future together. Building a home, starting a family, growing old side by side. She had never felt so certain of anything in her life. As they prepared to leave for their honeymoon, Victoria pulled Carter aside for a moment. "Thank you," she said softly, gazing into his eyes. "For what?" he asked, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "For loving me, for being patient with me, for showing me that true love really does exist." She placed a hand on his cheek. "You've made me happier than I ever thought possible." Carter leaned in to kiss her tenderly. "Thank you for taking a chance on me, for opening your heart again. You've made all my dreams come true." Hand in hand, they walked out to the waiting car, ready to begin their new life together. Victoria's heart was full to bursting with love and gratitude. She knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she and Carter would face them together. Their love had healed old wounds and given them both a beautiful new beginning. As they drove off into the night, Victoria rested her head on Carter's shoulder. She thought back to that snowy day nearly a year ago, when she'd felt so lost and alone. She never could have imagined then how drastically her life was about to change. Meeting Carter had been unexpected, but it had led her to exactly where she was meant to be. Victoria knew there would still be obstacles to overcome. Marriage wasn't always easy, but she also knew that with Carter by her side, she could handle anything. Their love had already weathered storms and come out stronger. She was excited to see where their journey would take them next. As the city lights faded behind them, Victoria closed her eyes contentedly. Her last thought before drifting off to sleep was how grateful she was to have found her true partner and soulmate in Carter. Their love story was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to write the next chapters together.